do you have anything that you've been playing this week?
Yeah, I haven't been playing this week. I played this a couple of weeks ago and we've dropped off of it, but I really want to do a recording of it just to show people, because it's a game that people don't talk about because of the nature of a game. It's a twin stick shooter. I like my twin stick shooters. So this came along and it was really, really cheap. So right, and give it a try. The initial, it's called Crimsonland, by the way. Crimsonland. The initial kind of loading screen. It's a rip-off of Doom. You know, the Doom Slayer's standing on top. He's standing on top of this mound, and he's surrounded by, not demons, but like insects, basically, and he's shooting away. So it's got kind of that frenetic feeling of, I'm going to rip and tear through this game. And the music in it is heavy metal as well. So, you know, they're obviously going for that, but it isn't a first-person shooter, as I said. It's a top-down twin stick shooter, and this is really top down, you know, right above your character. So the most simplistic twin stick shooter you can ever imagine. ZR is shoot, R is reload, and that's it. There's no change your weapons or anything. But 4 players can drop in and drop out on a multiplayer basis. And I mean drop in and drop out. You're in the middle of a match and someone can just jump in. Oh, grab a controller, come on, jump in. And they're straight in there as well. And it plays fluidly. For everything I've seen, it does play very fluidly. There are 3 modes to play. First of all, there's the quest mode, which is basically the story mode. It's not much of a story. It's just a list of missions. There are basically 3 difficulties. You start off with a normal difficulty. Everything else is locked. There are 7 areas, and each area has 10 sub-levels within those areas. So there's 70 levels to go through there. And there's very little difference between each level. Each level is an arena. Circular arena. Actually, not circular. Rectangular arena. Edges you can't see until you hit the edge, and then, right, I can't go any further. The screen is not scrolling. I can't go further than that. Enemies may spawn from off screen and come towards you on screen. Some enemies will stay in an area that you'll have to go to. I mean, compared to the size of your television screen, each arena is about 4 times the size. So you've got a little bit of scroll each way. And each kind of mission within each level, so there's 10 sub-levels, like I said. Each one is focused on teaching you a new weapon, first of all. And as you start every single level, you're always back to having no perks and this pitiful machine gun. And then you're walking quite slow. It feels, the first time I played, I thought, this is really sluggish, you know, it's not feeling. But as soon as you start killing a few enemies and you chain 3 or 4 together, the enemies will drop something. New weapon, for example, and it might be a shotgun. There's a high variety of different weapons that you can use in it, from laser guns and rocket launchers and numerous machine guns and pistols. There's no melee kind of attack, but everything is long ranged. And as they drop in these, they drop perks as well. Things that will give you extra speed, things that will link your chains together more, things that will, for example, you've got an electric boost, which will link enemies and explode them in lines. And you're going to need these perks, because if you're stuck with the original gun, you'll be overrun. There's just the amount of enemies running towards you, and most of them are kind of insectoid based. You know, there's also arachnid based ones, spiders running at you, bugs flying around and dropping bombs, and there are hives, just like a kind of old school Gauntlet game basically. And I love those top down Gauntlet games. So this started off feeling rather sluggish. And unfortunately, every time you go into a new level, like I say, you finish one sub level and then you go, hey, you got 3 stars. So for whatever score you get, or whatever, how many enemies you kill, you get a star based on your performance. Then you move on, open the next one up, and you open the next one up, you go into that new level, and you're back to the beginning again. Now, some levels may last 30 seconds. Some levels may last 5 minutes, depending on the level, depending on what you're asked to do. And each kind of area, so these 7 areas, focuses on kind of teaching you a specific group of weapons or a specific perk, and then by the last kind of area, you get random drops. This is where things get a little frustrating, because if you don't get the drop you want, the weapon you need, I need this laser gun because there's so many enemies coming in a line. I need to link these together to kill them off in one go. If you don't get that weapon and it being randomly dropped, you very frequently don't. It is a struggle to get through this game. A little bit easier when it's on 2-player because they don't ramp up the enemy density for the 2 players. It's exactly the same. But it's a worthy distraction, if nothing else. There's also a survival mode where you just got to last for as long as possible, which is a laugh because they throw so many enemies at you immediately. And if you last longer than 30 seconds, you're doing a good job. That's quite nice. And then within the survival mode, they've got separate modes as well, like rush mode, weapon picker. So you each time you go in, it'll go, right, you got a pistol and you've got no ammo. You got 10 bullets, last as long as you can. It'll give you these kind of set and randomly selected objectives to meet and see if you can survive, online leaderboards, and not bad for its asking. It's really, really cheap, not bad for its asking price. And if you are into overhead twin stick shooters, you couldn't go wrong for the asking price. It was like £1 or whatever it was in the sale. Crimsonland, that was.
Crimsonland.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.